Hey, this is RJ May, and you're watching Mr. Mario 2011.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while. The reason why I'm making it now is because the Canadian vlogs and everything are over, and I felt like, this would have been a good last video, but even though it's not really a vlog, I still wanted to make it anyways. So, today I'm going to be talking about, as someone who's coming from the US, specifically I'm coming from Kansas, and I've been here most of my life, if not all of my life, someone going up to Canada and noticing all the differences and whatnot. Now, I will say, when I went up to Canada recently, in case you all don't know, I was actually meeting up with some friends that I've known for the past 5 or 6 years, pretty much just over Xbox Live and whatnot, and we've been really good, if not like best friends. So, decided to hang out with them and everything, and the trip was fantastic. It was really, really fun. And it was my first time, doing a big trip like that alone. It was my first time leaving the country alone at the same time. It was my first time renting a car. First time meeting people that I've only known online, things like that. So it was pretty crazy overall. It was awesome at the same time. But that was my second time actually going to Canada. I went there when I was 17, I want to say. And that was with my family and whatnot. And we visited some people in Toronto. Now, the thing is, I did notice the differences then, but being on your own, you notice a lot more differences, and also having a few years more worth of experience just in the world and whatnot, it really makes a difference with it. So, for anyone who just wants to know this for fun, or they're going up to Canada, I'm going to be explaining, the differences that I noticed. Alright, so first off, I will say this. Immediately coming into the airport, I noticed, in general, everyone is nicer in Canada. Now, granted, as I said, I am from Kansas, and we are quite known for, being real nice, hospitable, everything like that. And I'm not saying there's a ton of mean people over here and whatnot, but in Canada, everyone is nice, but everyone is more open too, and it just seems more worry-free overall. Now, this might depend on the province you're going to and everything. I went up to Ontario, as I believe that's what the proper name is, Ontario. But I was up in that province, and everyone was fantastic up there. I didn't have an issue. Everyone just seemed really polite and whatnot. And this was not just me being excited. It was just overall, like, even when I was up there the entire time, and I went to a few different cities, and everyone was like that. Also, getting a little personal here, but I'll put it like this. When it comes to women flirting with me, unless they are like right in my face making it obvious, I'm pretty oblivious to what is going on. It's just, that is not a skill that I have, just like recognizing flirting. That is not one of my best traits. I'm good at some stuff, with that I'm not. However, that doesn't really get in the way of me, going out with women and whatnot. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, in Canada, if someone flirted with me, I was able to notice, almost immediately. And again, I don't know if that was just me being up there, being all excited and whatnot, or maybe I'm just used to the US, I don't know, but for some reason, I was able to point things out immediately when I was up there. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the infrastructure overall. Now, I've been to a few countries, a few spots in Europe before, and I'll say, I like Canada due to this, but it's a really nice combination of the US and Europe. It has that European feel, but if you're driving up from the US, everything still works. But they measure their gas differently. In Ontario, at least, I know they have their milk in bags. I covered that in the video. And also, everything is in kilometers per hour and whatnot, which is better because it's a base 10 system, and in the US, we use the imperial system, which just look up the differences one day if you're bored enough. I learned about it in school just because I'm here, but if you actually learn about it, you will realize that the imperial system does not make any bit of sense. However, I really don't want to bore people with things like that, but I will say this. This would have really helped me out, and this is a big difference. Gas stations up there. Gas stations. Over here, we measure in gallons. Over there, they're in liters, I believe. That didn't bug me. That whole thing didn't bug me. I was good on that. What really bugged me was, first off, the payment system. Now, the first time I was filling up my car up there, I was driving a little tiny Mazda 2. I was with my friend Tanner and my other friend Jamie, and I was taking Jamie back to his house, which was almost 2 hours away from where we were. No, a little over an hour, or something like that. It was like an hour, 15 minutes, something like that. I rounded up way too high. Anyways, what ended up happening was, first off, I go over to a gas station, and this gas station was like only ethanol stuff. I believe the brand was Husky. I didn't know about anything like this, and they're just telling me, oh, well, you know, the car might be able to handle it. I'm like, listen, this is a rental car. I don't want to screw it over. I don't want to screw anything up. I don't want to pay for this thing. So then we decided to go over to Petro Canada, which is one of the bigger gas stations up there. So I go across the street. We go over there. Now, I get out of the car, and I pull out my credit card. I'm just like, okay, so wait, do I just prepay over here or what? And Jamie and Tanner just give me the weirdest look, and they're like, wait, prepay? What are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm going to get gas. Should I prepay? No, I was paying with cash. I was using cash. But even with a card, you have to do it. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, I want to get some gas. Should I pay first? And they're like, no, you just pull the gas pump and start pumping. And at this point, I'm thinking that they're just punking me or something. I'm like, guys, no, that's not how it works. No, like, they are not going to let you take gas and pay second. And they're looking at me, they're like, no, Danny, that's how it works up here. You get your gas, and then you go inside and pay for it. We don't know what that term is. We have never heard of prepay until now. So that just completely threw me off. Now, to make matters worse, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go along with you all. I'm going to go ahead and get the gas. So I select what grade I want. I go ahead, I pull out the pump, put it in the car, start pumping, and I'm going to put up a picture for anybody watching this up in Canada. I'm going to put a picture up right now. On a gas pump in the US, when you pull up on the little lever, there is a clip which you can put down on the bottom of the pump, like the little pump device, so that way you could just flick that right there, and you could just leave your whole gas, like, you can leave everything alone. You can leave the pump alone, you can leave your car alone, and it will just be filling up gas. So if you want to, you can wander around, you can look at the stars, you can, you know, clean off all the bug guts off your car if you want to. In Canada, those things are missing. However, I was looking at it, and the part where the clip used to be on the pump was gone, but everything else was still intact. So I just thought, oh, well, this pump is broken, I guess. But I still need to fill up with gas, and I've already started, so I'll fill up. Now, I have never, ever filled up gas like that before. So I didn't know if I was going to hold the pump, if gas was going to spray out everywhere when my tank was full, or if it was automatically going to force stop it. So I filled up with, like, I think like $12 worth of gas, and then I just stopped. And then I remember I went inside and I paid, and I talked to the gas attendant, and I was like, yeah, I just wanted to let you know, the clip on pump number 3 is broken. And he's just like, oh, really? Okay. And I just looked at him, I'm like, okay, it's like, you're, all right, I guess you really don't care about your job. So I go back into the car, and I'm just like, man, like, I told the guy that the clip is broken on this thing, and he didn't even care. He didn't listen. And Jamie and Tanner, they're just like, okay. And we kind of left it at that. I found out later that up in Canada, they don't have those clips anymore on those pumps. And I found out from Tanner. And it was funny because I didn't realize this until the second time I filled up with gas. I went to a completely different gas station, and I was just like, Tanner, I need your help. And imagine how I feel, 20 years old, and I all of a sudden I don't know how to pump gas. So he comes over, and I'm just like, Tanner, okay, this pump does not have a clip either. What is going on? I've come into contact with 2 different pumps with broken clips. And he's like, oh, Danny, we don't have these up here. I'm just like, wait, you don't? He's like, no, we don't have them. Like, we've always just pumped our gas like this. I'm like, okay, so if I keep pumping gas, is it going to spray everywhere, or is it going to stop? And Tanner just freezes, and he's like, okay, I don't know. Danny, I've never pumped gas, because Tanner hasn't owned a car before, so he's never had to pump gas and whatnot. So we are just standing there like 2 dumbasses trying to figure out what to do. But just so you all know, so you all don't feel dumb like myself, pumps up there do not have those clips, and if you are fueling your car, if you just hold the pump, when your tank is full, it will automatically stop, and you'll be good to go. The reason why I found out those clips are gone is because I asked another friend of mine who lives in Toronto what happened, and he told me that years ago, there was some issue with a clip in one gas station in Canada where somebody had that clip going and it did not recognize the pressure points of the gas tank, so it kept pumping gas when the car was full, and then gas started spraying everywhere. And because of that one incident, they removed clips off all the pumps in Canadian gas stations. So that is why it is like that. And it was funny because after we filled up with gas for the second time, I explained that to Tanner, that like gas stations in the US have those clips, and he was saying, oh, you know, that makes so much sense, because I was listening to a podcast and people were complaining, these were Americans, and people were complaining about coming up to Canada, and they were saying that all the clips were broken on the gas pumps. And I was trying to figure out what they were talking about because I didn't know about these clips. So that is 5 minutes, that is more than 5 minutes just talking about filling up with gas alone. Now with driving, one other thing I want to mention is driver's licenses. Now, with this, honestly, I don't know how it works in other states in the US. I know that Kansas recently changed it, so for all I know, the whole world could be normal, and Kansas could be the weird one, which that's kind of happening right now, just due to the fact that about 10 years ago, Kansas said that we are not going to be teaching evolution in schools, and then everyone made fun of us. But what I want to talk about with this is, of course, driver's licenses, and you might be asking, Mario, what is the deal? Well, when I went up to Canada, it was about a month before my birthday. And see, over there, the drinking age is 19. Over here, the drinking age is 21. You have a vertical license until you're 21. When you're 21, you have to get a new license, and they change it to a horizontal license. That way, when you're going into bars or you're buying alcohol, people will still need to check if your ID is legit. But if they see that you have a horizontal license, pretty sure it's going to be legit. So what ended up happening was, when I was up there, this is before I even met my friends, when I was up in the airport, within 10 minutes, I had 3 people tell me that my license was about to expire and I had to get it renewed. And finally, when the third person told me, I just explained, actually no, it was the second and third person. When they told me, I explained it to them and their jaws just dropped. Because see, this is how it works. Apparently in Canada, over there, which this system makes sense, if your driver's license is about to expire, you can renew it up to 45 days in advance before the expiration date, so you can be proactive about it. If you're driving with an expired license after that, I don't know if you can get an extension, but it's going to be expired. Over here, at least in Kansas, apparently from what I know, it used to be like that, but a few years ago, they changed it. Now again, I don't know if this is with the US or if it's just a regional thing, but over here, for example, I'm about to be 21. Actually, I'm 21 while I'm recording this commentary. My birthday fell on a Saturday. So the DMV is closed because the DMV is only open Monday through Thursday. Technically, my license is now expired. The thing is, I cannot renew it before I'm 21 or before it expires. I can only renew my license after the license expires. Or after I'm 21, because apparently to give me a 21 license, I have to be 21, even if I want to be proactive with it and everything. However, since I would be driving illegally with an expired license, there is a PDF web form that you can download and print off and keep with you, and that serves as a 45-day extension, so that way, if I am pulled over by the cops for the next month and a half, and they see my license is expired, I could just show them that piece of paper and say, yes, I wasn't able to renew my license, I still got X amount of days left to do it. And also, because of that, I believe I'm still able to get alcohol, I'm still able to go into bars and everything. The only thing is, my license is expired and it's not horizontal, it's vertical, which doesn't make sense at the same time. I don't know why they did it like this, maybe to cut down on fake IDs or maybe to cut down on kids trying to get in early when they're 20. But it's kind of frustrating when when right now, my license is illegal and I can't do anything about it. Now, one thing I also want to talk about is the way Canadians talk. And this is one thing, if you're coming from the US, I mean, you get used to it, and I swear I started talking a little bit like a Canadian when I was up there, but it's not even their accents or anything, don't get me wrong. And the funny thing is, all the people that I know up there, they don't have Canadian accents. They don't have, and by Canadian accents, I'm talking about like the stereotypical ones you would hear in cartoons such as South Park, Family Guy, or just anything making fun or poking fun at Canadians. Most Canadians do not talk that way. That is a stereotype. Just like, somebody might say everyone in the US is obese and they're fat and all they do is eat hamburgers. That is just a stereotype. But speaking of how they talk and whatnot, they talk differently, but it's more of their vocabulary and what they use over accents. For example, all my friends up there, you would not know, if you only listen to them, you would not know that they are Canadian until they tell you they're Canadian, or if you talk to them long enough, you start noticing their vocabulary. And it's just certain things here and there. It's kind of like, the metric system versus imperial system. But for example, one of my last days I was there, Tanner's roommate, Ken, was talking about a presentation he was doing, and he had a note card. In the US, we call them note cards, 3x5 cards, cheat sheets, whatever you want to call them for presentations. And Ken called it a cue card. And then it was funny because I talked to him about it, and I said, you know what, Ken? That makes what you just said, that makes more sense than any of the terms we use. But to us, that's weird. And he was asking, he's like, wait, really? That's weird? I'm like, yeah, we call it a cheat sheet. We call it a note card. You all call it a cue card, which for a presentation setting, a cue card makes perfect sense. But we don't look at it that way. To us, that's weird. However, I will say that there are other things sprinkled in there along with the vocabulary. Like, Canadians do say a boot, they do say buddy, they say about a lot, and they are very notable for saying sorry. The way I realized that sorry was such a big thing was on my trip up to Canada on the plane from Michigan. It was from Chicago up to Toronto. There was a kid across the aisle from me who had an insane nosebleed, and the stewards came over and they're trying to move past everyone to get all the stuff, and the whole time they're moving past everyone, they're just like, oh, sorry, and then they come over and they're helping out the kid, so they bring him over some ice, and they bring him over a bunch of tissues and whatnot, and they just bring him over all the things to clean up the blood and everything. So they're just like, okay, so you need to do this, you need to do this with this, alright, now we're going to clean off the blood, and every single time the steward is cleaning the blood off the kid's face, he is saying sorry. So with every single wipe, he's saying sorry. And I'm just looking over, I'm like, man, you guys are so polite. Like, you literally have another kid's blood on you right now, and you're cleaning it off of him, and you're the one apologizing. When I saw that, I'm just like, wow, sorry is definitely a big thing up here. It really is. Now, one thing I'm throwing out there is alcohol. First off, drinking age up there in Canada is 19. Over here, it's 21. Second, with all of that, my friends were shocked to hear about this, and people who are watching this from Canada might be surprised too if you don't know, but in the US, you can pretty much get alcohol anywhere. Now, up in Canada, if you want alcohol anywhere from, hard stuff to like rum, whiskey, scotch, anything like that, down to beer, let's say, you can get that, but you have to go up to a liquor store to get it. In the US, with hard liquors like that, what I previously mentioned, you have to go to a liquor store. But most of the time with beer, or any type of lighter alcohol, you can get from gas stations, you can get from supermarkets, you can get them from Walmart. And that's another thing. We have Walmart Supercenter, which is open 24 hours a day, except for like New Year's and Christmas, I believe. Over there in the US, their Walmarts actually closed down, and they have regular Walmarts, and they don't serve alcohol, which I thought was surprising, and then my friends thought that it was weird that we served alcohol. Everywhere over here will not serve, we sold alcohol. I apologize for that. But the only difference is supermarkets have to adhere to something. So unless you are a liquor store, if you're a liquor store, you can have alcohol at any, like alcohol or liquor, any type of percentage of alcohol. Now, if you're buying your alcohol from any type of supermarket, any type of Walmart, anything like that, they are capped. So they have to sell a weaker version of the alcohol, and I want to say it's something capped at like 4 point something percent, like 4.4, 4.5. It might even be less than that. It could be 3 something. But that's really how it is. So you could have literally the same type of beer, but it will be a higher alcohol percentage at a liquor store compared to what you're going to get at Walmart. Also, the only other thing with that is I believe most places, they might have changed, but I want to say a decent amount of places will not sell their alcohol after like 10 or 11 p.m. Well, I think I just fried my brain trying to rack my head around for all the differences I could at least remember from Canada, but that is pretty much it. I had fun with this, and long video, but there's a lot of differences that people need to know that made me feel stupid when I was up there. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'm very thirsty now. I need water.